Colorado State rallied from being down seven to come back and get a 78-70 win over Memphis. It felt like a long time coming for Nico Medved and the Rams. They've made three of the past four NCAA tournaments, but this is the first one he's got there. And Dion, I think what was most surprising about this one, not the most efficient game from Nick Clifford, just 3 for 13 from the field, 0 of 6 for 3. However, I thought he contributed in other ways, still had 8 boards, 6 assists. I thought some of his passing was really a game changer, and Memphis didn't have much of an answer when he had the ball in his hands, even if he wasn't scoring. Of course, you had other guys stepping up like Kyan Evans, career high, 23 points, six made threes. But what'd you see out of this one?
Honestly, I mean the main thing that I saw out of this game was Colorado State's depth. I think that's the aspect of this team that I'm not saying was in question, but can they hang with the big dogs top to bottom? Can they break the Mountain West curse? Check
Mhm.
and check. You get a poor Neat Clifford game, maybe not poor, but poor, points wise.
For his standards,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
and you were fine. You were fine. And you broke the curse of the Mountain West. I thought it was a really impressive performance. Really, really, really deflating performance from PJ Haggerty in Memphis. Obviously, I did choose Memphis in my bracket, but also there was the part of me that has been really impressed by Penny all season, been really impressed by Haggerty all season. I'm not calling them Tyrese Hunter merchants by any means, but hey, they looked a little different without Tyrese out there.
Yeah. The crazy part about Haggerty, I got to stick on my chest a little bit, Dion. This preview that we did blew up, and I didn't even realize it. Shout out to Memphis fans. Y'all are real ones for tuning into the channel. We're always happy to connect with new fan bases. However, this is your welcome to Sleepers Media. This is your initiation. I got called out for saying Neek was the best guard in this game. PJ Haggerty responded by going 1 for 8 from three. He finished the season one for his final 16 3-point attempts. And I love PJ Haggerty. I think that dude is a blast to watch. He's a true stat sheet stuffer. The haters call him a free throw line merchant. I don't agree with that. He's only 6'3". It's not like he's some I wouldn't. He's not like doesn't have like some overwhelming like intimidating build or anything. I think he's just really good at drawing contact and finishing through it because he's a dog. So it's not even a slight at him. It's just I don't like when I don't like getting called out for something and then I end up being right. So I got to address that, because I don't know. I am a big Neek believer. And I thought even down the stretch of this game, this was the game that completely flipped on its head about 4 or 5 minutes into the second half.
Mhm.
Colorado State was throwing doubles at Dane in the first half. I thought Dane was really good. He showed up. Dane did his part. I mean, 22 and 12. What more do you want from the man? 3 blocks, 3 steals. But once they kind of stopped doubling him and found other ways to make a difference on defense, I thought like Colorado State's second half defense was awesome. They were forcing a ton of turnovers. There was one play down the stretch. Colorado State was up 8. Clifford just completely locked up. He completely locked up Colby Rogers, who was trying to drive to the hoop. Help defender came over, forced a tie up. Colorado State had possession. Like this was just to me, the Rams dug deep and just got some big plays down the stretch from really their whole collective as a defense. But I also thought Neek made enough plays, even if he didn't shoot the ball particularly well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's if you're a Maryland team who's waiting on Colorado State, right? That's got to be a little bit concerning where it's like a Neek can affect the game in a million different ways, but the best way he affects the game he wasn't necessarily good at in this game. And
Hmm.
it wasn't controlling start to finish. Memphis was up as many points as 7, like you mentioned, but I mean, they still once Colorado State turned on the gas, it really didn't feel like Memphis had a counterpunch for them.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I mean, some of it too, like Rashawn Mimba was someone who stepped up. I think had a 7-0 spurt himself early in the second half. What was like, okay, I'm taking this Dame matchup personally. I'm going to do my part. Like you said, the depth was really impressive that they got contributions from guys who weren't unique. Like they had four dudes in double figures. Of course, Kyan Evans was just making everything after, I believe, did all six of his makes. Okay, he hit three in the first half, three in the second half. It felt like the degree of difficulty on some of the shots he was taking in the second half were just like what you think of when you think about March Madness. This is a guy who came into the game averaging just 10 points a game, but was a 40% 3-point shooter. But he was out there knocking down off the dribble threes, coming off of ball screens, like just really made that was where I know Dane still had the 3 steals and 3 blocks, and I don't want to knock him for that. But anytime Kyan got Dane on a switch, it was like his eyes lit up and he just kept shooting them and they kept falling. Like he was someone who I just was really impressive in this one. And I think he just has more juice than probably the casual fan realizes in terms of thinking about, how else can this team burn you aside from Neek? What happens when Neek goes 0 for 6? Like, I think Kyan answered the bell. He's like, I got this. This one is on me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what a name. I don't know. Every time you say Kyan, I just think of Kyan Anthony.
Right. So it might be a year of the Kyans.
But seriously, I think that that's the aspect of all this that if you are a Maryland team, you have to be concerned by. They have a
Hmm.
lot of different guys that can get you. I mean, kind of 6 of 9 at three. Jalen Lake was 3 of 7 from three. No one else really made a three. But Neek was 0 of 6. That's not going to happen again. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where they have three shooters, as I like to say, and that's going to be a problem for anybody in the country. Anybody in the country.
Yeah, and the thing about this Colorado, like they completely shirked the Mountain West stereotype of being scared for the moment. That's been, I've joked about this with our heat check CBB bracketologist Lucas Harkins that there needs to be a B2A metric factored in. That if you represent a league that routinely gets belt to Heine when it comes to March Madness, that should affect whether or not you get a bid. When people were camping for Boise State to get a bid. I was like, I'm sorry, man. We got to draw a line here. We know how this goes when we do the whole like 5 bid Mountain West thing. Like it doesn't end up well. But that like this Colorado State team, I get Memphis has flaws, but they just completely dominated the second half. They were up by as many as 12, like is a true, I think a 17-point turnaround this half that like that shows toughness. And it's just like they might not have overwhelming size in the front court, but they have good positional size on the perimeter, and they just have guys that are tough. I mean, the 16 turnovers too, like that speaks volumes to me. That I know Memphis. I wouldn't say they're necessarily like probably not like the best ball security team in the country. That's never really been a tenet of Penny teams. It's kind of been a bugaboo for him as they usually turn the ball over a little bit. But to come against a team that have been playing with confidence, and Memphis is one of those teams that, they had close calls in the American, but they usually elevate their play against quality opponents. What better time than the present for that? And to just completely make them fall into their traps and be more active with their hands, beat them to 50-50 balls. Like, I really enjoy watching this Colorado State team, and I just think we learned a lot about them from like even a toughness, a mentality standpoint from this game.
Yeah, and with all that in mind, I'm not on the preview for Maryland, Colorado State. I do want to say this though. My dog Derek Queen got some for all that. Derek Queen got some for all that. But I know this was a very impressive game from Colorado State. Um, Not to put this lightly, very clearly the Kings of the Mountain West. Like you can't argue that.
For
Everyone else
sure.
got B2A. Colorado State provided B2A.
That's right. They really are just a fun team. I think Fort Collins is a really cool city. If you ever get a chance to travel there, that's not too far away from your neck of the woods.
I'm gonna let you have that city, I think.
It's like a 2 hour plane ride from you. Go check out Fort
Yeah.
Collins. Spend some time there.
Hey,
Great
listen,
food. Great
I mean
food.
this respectfully, because I'm not trying to create any beef. If I'm gonna go to Colorado, I'm gonna just go to Denver.
Well, Fort Collins is only an hour away from Denver. It's a college town. Great food, great beer scene. So,
No need to make that drive, respectfully.
are you a hiking guy at all, Dion?
No. So I've never understood hiking. You like all you do is walk.
Yeah, but you walk to see a view. You get to enjoy nature, like
Yeah.
particularly if you go hiking.
Like why why in the world would I want to walk to see a view?
Okay, because if you're in the Rocky Mountain National Park, which is not too far away from Fort Collins, Colorado, it's beautiful views, man. Like, especially if you go there in the summertime, it's like 70 degrees and sunny, and then you also still have the snow-capped mountains. You can't beat it.
Yeah, I mean I'll check out the pictures.
Also, you want to know a stat about Memphis that maybe I'm putting too much stock into Colorado forcing them into 16 turnovers?
Hmm.
When do you think the last time Memphis had single digit turnovers in a game was?
When did Penny start coaching?
When did he start coaching? Like 2019?
So 2018.
It's not quite that far back. It's just been more often than not over the past month. And even looking at it specifically against Rice on February 26th, they had 8 turnovers. So good job not turning over against Rice. So maybe I'm putting too much stock in that. But still, it just felt like Colorado State had very timely turnovers that, made sure the doors slammed shut on any hopes of a Memphis comeback.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been saying this about a few different teams. It's my new favorite saying. I said it once and I really liked it. Just a very professional performance from Colorado State. Nothing too crazy, no like crazy high highs, no crazy
Mhm.
low lows. Came in, handled business on to the next.
Mhm.
Crazy to say that about what, a 12 seed?
Yeah, yeah, but that's how they played. They did not play like they were the underdogs in it. I know they looked a little spooked in the first half when Dane was getting busy. I still like, oh, can I talk about the broadcast crew for this one for a second?
Hey, are you going to be mad about Andy Katz? Because we're not doing that.
I'm not gonna rant about Andy Katz on the sidelines, but it was a three-man booth, and when Hummel's on the call, sometimes I think just clear out and let Hummel rock a little bit. I did really enjoy Jalen Rose, though. I feel like Jalen Rose, there were times when Memphis was making mental mistakes. Like he was calling, he was like trying to coach them up on the fast break, which Dane was like leading the break in certain possessions of this. And when Dane gets the ball, Dane's shooting it like 9 times out of 10. And Jalen's on the call just yelling, lob, lob, look to the corner, open man. Like I thought it was so you don't really hear broadcasters like try to coach up guys from the booth mid game. And then Hummel was just coming in with the analysis and everything, which yeah, I don't know. Fun little
No,
wrinkle.
no one
Enjoyed
knows
that.
mental lapses quite like Jalen Rose. So I'm
He,
glad he was there for some expertise on it.
he is someone who I feel like had his fair share of mental lapses.
I was talking about C-Web personally, but
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't blame him for C Web
I'm not gonna
struggles.
blame him for C-Web stuff, but he saw it firsthand, so no one knows a mental
That's a
lapse
good
quite like
point.
Jay.
That's a good
Also,
point.
a lot of people forget he gave up the 81.
To Kobe,
Yeah,
I forgot that.
I didn't. I didn't. Every time I see the hairline, I'm like, I remember what Kobe did to you.
All right, let's close by talking about what do you think this means for Memphis. This is a team that I think defied a lot of expectations this year, and Penny's tenure has been largely, well, I think Memphis fans probably feel pretty split on it. He's never gone farther than the second round. It took him 4 years to make the tournament. However, he elevated them from past where like Tubby Smith and Josh Pastner had them before him, but it's like for a program that went to a national title game and was perennially making the second weekend under Cal, like in the late 2000s. I guess I wouldn't blame them for wanting more, but like I think he's a good coach. I think he gets talent. I think he takes chances on guys like Tyrese Hunter and sort of rehabilitated his career.
Mhm.
Like
I think
Haggerty
he does.
wasn't. I think there were plenty of naysayers on Haggerty last year too, like getting a Tulsa transfer. Like people probably didn't really think the 20 points a game would transfer up a level, especially seeing how, I mean, started out at TCU, only played in 6 games his freshman year, to where like his last power conference stint didn't work to try to put him on a team that's not in a power conference but has those aspirations. I think it says something about Penny that he has maximized some guys' potential.
Yeah, I think Penny can coach. I don't remember. Was it you I was talking to about this actually? Maybe on the preview. There's been so many videos this week. I'm sorry, but I remember saying like I'm high on Penny. I've never understood it.
Hmm.
Look, the man's team stunk when he had James Wiseman. James Wiseman stinks. Like, let's just call it a spade.
Yeah.
Some of these dudes' teams were just stinky,
Hmm.
and some of the players were not very good. And I think he learned from his mistakes. You see him bring in a more veteran group, less NBA flash and more college flash, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
And it's working. I really, really hope Haggerty stays for Penny's sake. But I think the future of Memphis next year is really going to come down to like, is FedEx dropping the bag, or is he going to have to go look at Calipari to get that bag? But Haggerty
Yeah.
will get a bag, though.
I'm with you on that. I think I mean, it's probably an simplification, but if you can retain Haggerty, which I do expect them to like drop it back to keep him, I think they'll do whatever it takes to keep him in Memphis. But it's just outside of that, they had a bunch of seniors on this team. Like you're going to be leaning a lot on Baraka Koji, and it's kind of it outside of Haggerty. You got to start from scratch. But even someone like I know Colby Rogers, his shooting really cooled off during conference play. Like he started off kind of making everything, but he was another one of those dudes who was like a hidden gem. You know, he started out Cal Poly, got plucked from Wichita State last year, and was just a really good fit for this team to where I think Penny can do it again. But I would guess Memphis fans are like, okay, hopefully you can build something and we're more in the 4, 5, 6 seed range than like more bubbly on that 8, 9 line every year.
Yeah, I mean, I think Memphis fans would obviously prefer it. What's weird about Memphis is they had Cap, so like they still have that thought like we could be the one seed with Derrick Rose
Right.
and them.
Right.
They probably maybe every once in a while, or probably not with the same consistency that Cal did.
Hmm.
I think they would love to get up to that 4, 5, 6 seed. I think this team might have been able to do it, but unfortunately they had some bumps in the road along the way, and then
Yeah.
the Tyrese Hunter injury late. But I do believe in what Penny's doing as long as he sticks to the script that he's like I guess you'd say rewritten the last year or so. I think they'll see a lot of success in the future.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. If I was a Memphis fan, I'd be pretty bummed how this ended just because I would have thought, like, based on how this team played in big games, it's not out of the question they could have made a run. And it seemed like they were in control during the first half. And it was just kind of flipped on its head when Colorado State ramped up the defense and got good production from role players. But I still would feel like pretty confident. It seems like the program's heading in the right direction. But yeah, all in all, congrats to the Rams on this one. They get Maryland next. Stay tuned to the Sleepers Media YouTube channel for a preview for that one, along with every game throughout this whole tournament.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.